What's going on, guys, and welcome to another Doctor Who video. Today I'm going to be ranking all of Series 4's episodes from worst to best. Series 4 is full of great episodes, so it was quite difficult to rank them. Remember, this is my opinion, but I'd love to hear yours in the comments below. Anyway, let's get started. Number 13. The Doctor's Daughter. This episode is widely regarded as the worst episode in Series 4, however, even though I have it in last place, I don't think it's as bad as people say it is. Yes, the story is your basic war between two different species, and altogether it isn't the most compelling, but I think this one has a lot to give. Seeing the Doctor go from not really accepting Jenny as his daughter to having him distraught by her death at the end of the episode is really good to see. It's also sad that the Doctor thinks Jenny is dead, but she actually survived, although I do find it slightly disappointing that we probably won't see her story progress. Also, having Martha back for another story is always a good thing, and her getting split up and ending up on the Hath side is good because we get to see both sides of this war. This one merely gets in last place on the list because the story is pretty basic and the series is very strong as a whole. Number 12. Partners in Crime. This is the first episode of Series 4 and in most ways it doesn't disappoint. Seeing the Doctor and Donna trying to solve the same mystery but not knowing of each other's presence is great. The fact that they are so close to one another, but they keep missing each other is so good. The moment when they finally find each other is absolutely amazing and is one of the funniest moments from the whole show. From there onwards, the chemistry between the two is there straight away and never disappoints. The reason the episode falls down a bit is because the main threat of Miss Foster and the Adipose doesn't really interest me. They didn't want to have a big threat to start off the series because they wanted to focus on the Doctor and Donna meeting again. All in all, this is a fun episode to watch for the characters, however it isn't the best for the villain. Number 11. Midnight. Now yes, I know this is regarded as one of, if not the best episode from this series, however it just doesn't really do it for me. We don't see Donna at all in this episode apart from at the beginning and end, so the Doctor is more in the spotlight than usual. The Midnight Entity is a great villain because it terrifies the pants off you, but you never actually see it. David Tennant is on top form here as well, giving one of his best performances in all of his series. It's also great to see the Doctor lose control of the situation when being possessed by the entity. The main thing that detracts me from this story, however, is the supporting cast. Most of them just annoy me, and although it's nice to see the Doctor basically getting ganged up on, the supporting cast just comes off as annoying. I'm also not a big fan of episodes that stay in one place the whole time, and this is definitely one of those episodes, with it solely taking part in the confined space of the carriage. This one is enjoyable for me to watch, however, the cast just puts me off it a bit. Number 10. Planet of the Ood. The Ood are back in this story and I was very excited about their return because I absolutely loved their first appearance in Series 2. Here we see Ood Operations, a company that sells Ood as a servant race. They are currently dealing with the red-eyed Ood that seem to go savage and try to kill people. In my eyes, this episode is nowhere near as good as the previous Ood story, however it's still pretty good. The inclusion of the natural Ood that still have their brains in their hands instead of the communication orbs is really interesting. The way they communicate telepathically makes you feel for them and you can understand what their kind is going through. I thought the hindbrain was a good concept too, having this entity that makes the Ood what they are, but the humans are using it to basically turn them subservient. On the whole, this was an enjoyable episode and a very emotional one at times too. Number 9. The Unicorn and the Wasp. Doctor Who meets Agatha Christie. What isn't there to love? This episode has the 10th Doctor and Donna trying to solve a murder mystery with none other than Agatha Christie. It feels very different to other episodes, but in a good way. The part where everyone is being interviewed and we slowly find out characters' backstories is a really interesting part of the story. There's also plenty of humour in this one, like when the Doctor starts questioning Donna about where she was at the time of the first murder, and when the Doctor gets poisoned and needs certain ingredients to fight it off. The whole supporting cast for this one is excellent as well, especially the actress who plays Agatha. The ending is also very special as it ties into what happened to Agatha Christie in real life. The giant wasp is a bit of a cliche villain, which is why this gets a little further down, but it's still a great episode. Number 8. The Sontaran Stratagem. This is the first part of the two-part Sontaran story. It's the first time we've seen the Sontarans in the new series and it sets them up well. We find out that the Sontarans want to take over Earth by gassing them out with devices they've been installing in cars. They've also started making clones of humans and Martha Jones ends up being captured and a clone of her is made. We also get the introduction of Luke Rattigan, a kid genius who is working with the Sontarans because they told him he was too smart for all the other humans on Earth and they needed him. In this episode, he almost comes across as a villain helping out the enemy, but that changes in the second part. Altogether, this first part is enjoyable and it sets up a lot for part 2. Number 7. The Poison Sky. Part 2 of the Sontaran story is in my eyes the better part because there's just a lot more going on. We have the Doctor trying to sort out the gas problem that arose at the end of the previous part, Martha's clone sneakily corrupting all of Unit's plans, and of course the Sontarans coming down to Earth and starting the war. The Valiant also makes an appearance in this episode, and who can forget the "Are You My Mummy" reference. We also slowly get Luke's realization that he is being played by the Sontarans and they are using him only for their own benefit and not his own. I love the part at the end of the episode where the Doctor teleports onto the Sontaran ship to blow them up, knowing full well that he will die as well, only for Luke to take his place and do it himself. I thought that was a great way to round off a character that was at first quite unlikable. This was a very enjoyable episode and it had a satisfying end. Number 6. The Fires of Pompeii. Now we're getting into the episodes that I really enjoy. The Fires of Pompeii is only the second episode in the series, however the chemistry between the Doctor and Donna makes it feel like they've been travelling for ages. The Doctor wanted to go to Rome, however the TARDIS ends up taking them to Pompeii on the worst day possible, Volcano Day. It turns out the volcano isn't exactly what you'd expect though, as it's full of volcanic creatures. We are introduced to a family living in the area whose daughter is slowly turning into stone, which we find out later is because of the High Priestess of the Sisterhood, a creature that is made completely of stone. The end of this episode is what really does it for me. The Doctor tells Donna that he can stop the pyroviles, but Vesuvius erupting is a fixed point in time that cannot be altered. Together, they push the lever and the volcano erupts. Donna was horrified by all the death that this would cause and wanted the Doctor to save someone. After a very emotional scene, he saves the family. This episode is a rollercoaster of great action, humour and emotion, and that's why I love it. Number 5. Forest of the Dead. This is the second part of the Vashta Nerada 2-part story. It's the rare occasion where I actually like part 1 more than part 2. This episode focuses mostly on Donna after she was turned into an information mannequin last episode. We find out through the episode that the world Donna is living in isn't actually real, and she's actually just been saved into a giant computer basically. I do like these scenes of her in this strange world, but for me, it just feels a bit boring at times. The main thing I like about this episode is the end where Riversong sacrifices herself in order to save everyone. This is very emotional, but the tone is lifted when the Doctor realizes his future self gave River a sonic screwdriver that would be able to save her. It sets up all the upcoming ventures for River and the Doctor, and although her story can get confusing, it's interesting that the first time we see her here is one of the last times she's seen the Doctor in her timeline. Number 4. Turn Left. Turn Left is a predominantly Donna-focused story, with the Doctor barely appearing at all. It goes through what the world would have been like if Donna had never met the Doctor at Christmas, and it's not a good outcome. We see that he would have died the night with the Ragnos, and the world would never be the same again. There's also a crazy turn of events where Donna finds Rose Tyler in this different reality, and she's trying to tell Donna that she needs to die in order for the world to go back to how it was when the Doctor was alive. It's a great setup for the 2-part finale that would follow and a reintroduction for Rose. It's such a different kind of episode because there isn't a sole villain or threat. The threat is merely that the Doctor isn't around to save the universe anymore. For a Doctor-like episode and not a load of action, this is one that keeps me entertained all the way through. Number 3. Silence in the Library. Alright, so we've now got to the first part of the 2-part Vashta Nerada story. This introduces us for the first time to River Song, but it feels like we've known her for ages. The fact that she knows the Doctor so well, but he has no idea who she is great. The supporting cast of the other archaeologists are also pretty good on the most part. The slow realization of what the threat is in the library is done really well, and the moment where Miss Evangelista is eaten by the Vashta Nerada is horrifying. After that, the rest of the team slowly gets picked off and turn into walking skeletons. The fact that the last words they say before death start repeating is an awesome way of telling when they're dead without actually seeing them. It sends a chill down your spine when you hear them saying the same thing over and over, and when the Doctor realizes, you can tell he's sad. All up, this is a great start to an amazing 2-part story. Number 2. The Stolen Earth. This is the first part of the 2-part epic finale which introduces Davros, who we haven't seen since the classic series. The Daleks have taken 27 planets from all over the universe and are bringing them together for one of their sinister plans. We find out that after using an emergency temporal shift in the previous Dalek story, Dalek Khan managed to go into the Time War and went insane because of it. We also see the return of many of the Doctor's companions from the previous series. These include Captain Jack Harkness, Martha Jones, Sarah Jane Smith and Rose Tyler, just to name a few. The end of this episode is also amazing as the Doctor gets shot by a Dalek while running to Rose. It ends on him regenerating, which was a big shock at the time, although most people knew he wouldn't change actor because it wouldn't make sense to do it over a 2-parter. This was an amazing setup for the final episode. Number 1. Journey's End. Yes, it is of course the second part to the Series 4 finale. This episode has everything I love in a Doctor Who story. Plenty of action, Daleks, a bunch of great companions, and just a good story. It starts off with the Doctor regenerating, but he manages to use his chopped off hand to keep the same body. Our characters then go aboard the Dalek ship and come face to face with Davros. As this is happening, there's plenty of stuff going on with Martha, Jack and the rest of the cast, but I can't get into all of that now. Long story short, Donna accidentally makes a clone Doctor from his hand while the TARDIS is burning up, and this Doctor manages to save them. Donna is now part Time Lord and helps the Doctor defeat the Daleks. The last few scenes are very emotional, as we first of all have Rose back in the parallel universe with the part human Doctor, and Donna is dying because she's part Time Lord, so the Doctor has to wipe her mind. It's a very sad end to a thrilling series finale. Well, there we have it. That was my rankings for all 13 episodes in Series 4 of Doctor Who. This was one hell of a series full of amazing episodes, so I'd love to hear what your favourites are. If you didn't notice, I decided to write a script for this to get rid of the ums and ahs that usually end up in these videos, so I hope that this was better than usual. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed, please go ahead, like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video.